Reggae Just Xtra with Dennis.
Following Bob's passing in 1981 at age 36, all the arrangements he had put in place were all cut off when Rita Marley took over his empire, overseeing the management of his label Tough Gong Studios and his assets. She received frequent criticism in the early days of her leadership and faced many legal challenges surrounding her control of Bob's estate. The Wailers initially received 50% of all Bob Marley's recording royalties. The name of the two Barrett brothers were subsequently removed from the tracks credited to them.
I am Aston, Familyman Barrett, the bass player, the band leader, and the musical arranger and producer of Bob Marley and
Aston Familyman Barrett, who believes he is the author of the bass line which gave Marley's late 1970s hits their inimitable rhythm, failed in his legal bid for a multi-million-pound slice of the Marley musical empire. This was the third time the former friend and colleague of the late Bob Marley had sought financial recompense for his contribution to the Marley sound, having undertaken legal actions in Jamaica and America in the 1980s, which, like 2006 ruling, left him waiting in vain. This is the story of the Barrett brothers with Dennis.
You are now watching Reggae Just Extra's Barrett Brothers edition.
In this episode, we will take a closer look at the legal issues that eventually cost Aston Barrett, aka Familyman, selling two of his houses in order to raise £2 million in legal costs for the trial against Universal Island Records Limited, UMG Records, Rita Marley, and others. Kindly stay tuned to learn a thing or two, and do remember to subscribe to this channel, like and hit the notification bell to be the first to watch our next video. On Friday, March 28, 2003, Aston Familyman Barrett won High Court backing to claim millions of pounds in royalties over 20 years. According to Familyman, he and his late brother, the band's drummer Carlton, murdered in 1986, have not been paid royalties under two agreements made with Marley in the 1970s. Barrett says he and other members of the Wailers entered partnerships with the Jamaican singer, with the profits to be shared equally between Marley and the band. The claim relates to the years Marley recorded some of his greatest albums, which still sell well. These include Natty Dread, Live, Rastaman Vibration, Exodus, Kaya, Babylon by Bus, Survival, Uprising, and Confrontation. Barrett was seeking further payments for 6 of the band's songs he says were written by him or his brother. Universal Island Records Ltd. and the Island Def Jam Music Group had asked for the claim to be struck out, saying it was an abusive process and stood no real prospect of success. The record companies claim an agreement in 1994 settled all legal differences between the parties with the payment of several $100,000. But Mr. Justice Laddie ruled that Barrett's claims can go ahead, saying the issues raised were far too complex and numerous for it to be safe to strike out before a full trial. Before launching the claim, Barrett had said, "I had a contract with Bob, but I have received no royalties since he died in 1981. I was his right-hand man, and now they are trying to erase me." At the High Court in London, he claimed that he and his brother Carlton, a drummer in the band who was murdered in 1987, were still owed up to £60 million from a contract signed in 1974 and royalties from 6 songs they had written. He alleged that after Marley died of cancer in 1981 without leaving a will, his widow, Rita, and Island Records had denied Barrett and his brother access to the wealth generated from sales of Marley albums. But as the High Court judge, Mr. Justice Lewison, threw out his claim, Barrett, who was not in court to hear the ruling, may have been reminded of one of the songs he claimed to have written along with his late brother, "Them Belly Full, But We Hungry," as he ended up facing about £2 million in legal costs for the trial, forcing him to sell 2 homes in Jamaica. The judge imposed an order barring him from taking any further action without the permission of the court. The defendant's original position was that the Barretts were no more than backing musicians, or in Rita Marley's words, backing or session musicians, because the late Reggae King had not considered the rhythm section to be full members of the band, rather that they were merely session players. However, during the course of the trial it became clear from the evidence both of Mr. Blackwell and of Mrs. Marley that they were more than just backing musicians. Aston Barrett, in particular, was recognized as having made an important contribution to the overall sound of Bob Marley and the Wailers. That, however, was not what the case was about, or at least not at that level of generality according to the judge. At a hearing in March, Barrett claimed Marley had promised the members of the band equal shares of the royalties from albums including Babylon by Bus, Exodus, and Rastaman Vibration. Barrett also said Marley asked for his help behind his studio, 56, Hope Road in Kingston, Jamaica, after he and his brother scored international hits with the Upsetters. In 1974, Marley's original 2 collaborators, Neville Bunny Livingstone and Peter McIntosh, left. The new group, Bob Marley and the Wailers, included the Barrett brothers and Al Anderson for the first time. Whittington Winter, a studio assistant at 56, Hope Road, told the court how the Barretts would compose songs together, Carlton, lyrical, outspoken and often philosophical, improvising words, he said, while Familyman added bass lines. Carlton would be talking and they would be playing and singing and humming. When you say write songs, you don't sit there with a pen and paper. It's more like an inspiration. Aston Barrett and his brother literally created the sound of the Wailers, though not for a minute to detract from the extraordinary songwriting ability of Mr. Marley. Stephen Bate, representing the musician, told the judge. It was the Barretts' unique sound which brought the Wailers international success. The judge, however, agreed with arguments put by Island Universal and the Marley family that Barrett surrendered his rights to any further royalties in a 1994 settlement in exchange for several $100,000. He said, "I conclude that all the claims that Mr. Aston Barrett brings in his personal capacity have been compromised by the settlement agreement." He noted that Barrett, who cannot read or write, had the greatest difficulty in answering questions about business dealings. Barrett was plainly close to Bob Marley himself, whom he trusted implicitly, he said. At this remove of time, his recollection of events was hazy, and I also consider that, as often happens, he has reconstructed events in his mind according to how he would like them to have been. An earlier U.S. action was concluded by a settlement in which Ireland agreed to pay £264,000 and legal costs on the understanding that the Wailers would cease any further legal action. Members of the Wailers claimed they were coerced into signing the deal, a claim Mr. Justice Lewison rejected. He also dismissed attacks against the honesty of Rita Marley and said she had done her best over the years for the Wailers. Rita Marley and Island Records founder Chris Blackwell had both played down the contributions of the Barrett brothers during the trial. In a statement, the Marley family expressed delight at the decision. For the last 4 years, Aston Familyman Barrett has persisted in this hurtful and extremely expensive claim, which was actually settled in 1994. The family of Bob Marley are delighted that the claim has now been rejected in full. In his response, Barrett said, "I haven't done anything wrong. I just don't have any friends in high places like them," Aston said, in reaction to the news. The verdict brings to a close a long and bitter fight on the part of the bassist, who insists that he was legitimately contracted to the late Reggae King. Thanks for watching, and do remember to subscribe, give it a like and post a positive comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you again very soon for another video.
Many thanks for watching Reggae Just Extra with Ras Dennis.